They say that the dead can never rest easy. But what if they don't even try to? Well, if you're about to face your fears head-on with this video, then strap yourself in, because we've got a terrifying tale for you. But first, what do you do when you hear scratching sounds from under your bed just before 3 a.m.? Do you dare to investigate, or just hope it goes away? Imagine you're in a crowded place filled with distractions and noise. It would be almost impossible to notice someone trying to communicate with you, unless they really knew how to make themselves heard, like the ghost of Mary Celeste. Well, that's exactly what happened at Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Working in a cemetery is hard work and mistakes happen. She roams the halls of the historic DeSoto House Hotel in Illinois, searching for her lost love. She was born in 1820 and married a wealthy planter named John Yarborough. But during the Civil War, he was killed in battle. Whether they seek solace, revenge, or merely companionship, these chilling tales reveal the profound impact of loss, grief, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Heartbroken, Sarah followed him to his grave and died soon after. Have you ever encountered ghosts during those eerie hours between midnight and dawn? Share your spine-tingling experiences in the comments below. Your stories could be the next whispered tales to send shivers down our spines. And if you're brave enough to venture further into the realm of the unknown, click on the video on screen now for more terrifying encounters with the other side. Remember, some doors are best left unopened, and some secrets are best left buried. Dare to explore more or turn back, now while you still can. The choice is yours. Legend has it that she haunts the hotel, reliving the moments before her lover's death. But is she seeking closure, or is she waiting for him to come back to her? But when a gravedigger accidentally dug up the wrong corpse, he didn't expect the dead man to come back and haunt him. Just imagine being home alone in the middle of the night when you hear a knock. Would you be brave enough to open the door and face whatever's out there? Well, some people are, and they regret it. Take the story of Tracy. She was fast asleep one night when she heard what sounded like someone knocking on her bedroom door. Startled, she checked all the windows and doors to ensure they were securely locked. Then she returned to bed, dismissing it as her overactive imagination. However, in the morning, she discovered strange markings on her door and a set of deep scratches on the wall beside it, though she couldn't explain the phenomenon. Some believed that Tracy had unknowingly opened a portal to another dimension or angered a malevolent spirit. Whatever the case may be, she's now too afraid to sleep with her door closed at night. Little did he know that this particular individual had a strong will to live, or maybe just a strong will to complain. Now, whenever the cemetery caretaker mows the lawn, he hears someone angrily complaining nearby. Locals believe it's the ghost of the man whose grave was disturbed, forever seeking justice for his untimely resurrection. Maybe he just wants someone to listen to his story. Built in 1910, it was initially a luxury hotel catering to the wealthy elite. But after a devastating fire, it reopened as a tuberculosis sanatorium. Unfortunately, the staff quickly learned that they weren't alone. They encountered patients who had passed away decades ago. At night, the halls would echo with disembodied voices, coughs and footsteps. And during the day, people would find their beds neatly made by invisible hands. Was the building haunted by the many souls it had lost? Or were the staff simply overworked and sleep-deprived? We may never know for sure. This poor woman went missing in 1876. Her body was found 3 days later on a beach near St. Mary's Gate, Ireland, with signs of violence. Despite extensive searches, her killer was never found. Today, visitors to St. Mary's Gate report hearing the sound of footsteps near the spot where her body was discovered. Some have even captured audio of what seems to be a desperate cry for help. So could Mary be trying to tell us who did this to her? And will her spirit ever find peace? You might think it was just a branch scraping against the house from outside, but sometimes it's something more sinister. Some say that once you enter the hospital, you're no longer in control. Instead, you become a patient of the afterlife. At Royal Perth Hospital in Western Australia, one nurse shared a spooky story. She was working the night shift when she noticed a little boy walking down the hallway. He was wearing clothes typical of the 1940s and looked sad. Just as she watched him disappear around a corner, he appeared again, standing in front of her. The nurse felt compelled to follow him, but just as she reached out to touch his shoulder, he vanished. Soon after, she heard the sound of footsteps in an empty room, moving closer and closer until they stopped right by her. Terrified, she fled, convinced that the ghost wanted her to come with him, but perhaps he just needed some company. After all, sometimes the dead just want to join the living. Just ask Ashley. She had no idea what she'd find when she decided to take her dog out one night. Then she heard a noise coming from inside her home, the kind that came from underneath her bed. It sounded like nails dragging metal moans. She tried to ignore it, but the sound only grew louder. So Ashley finally decided to follow the noise. She slowly crept under her bed and found nothing there. Yet still she felt an unexplainable chill. And then the floorboard creaked behind her. Turning around, she saw the corner of her bed moving up and down slightly, and at that moment, she knew she wasn't alone. That's when she whipped out her phone camera and started recording. The footage showed what appeared to be a small movement at first, but then the corner of the bed started to rise higher and higher, levitating above the ground. As it moved, a shadow emerged, taking the shape of an elderly woman, and then she vanished. But not before Ashley noticed that the woman's eyes were locked onto her the whole time. While viewers debated whether this was a real ghost sighting or some elaborate hoax, paranormal experts claimed that this was the most convincing piece of evidence for ghosts they'd seen in years. But sometimes ghosts don't mean to haunt you, they just want to play. Or maybe that's just what they want you to think. Take the case of the ghost train at Grafton Station in Australia. During the early 20th century, this was a busy transport hub, but now it's mostly abandoned, or so they thought. People reported hearing the distant whistle of a train and seeing its ghostly apparition gliding through the station. One day, a group of teenagers decided to investigate. They boarded the train and soon realized that they weren't alone. A little girl suddenly appeared, sitting opposite them. The kids were shocked, but the girl seemed friendly and even played games with them. When the train arrived at the next station, though, the girl vanished. Some believe she was a young victim of the infamous Juni train disaster. Could she be seeking out survivors all these years later? And will this train keep running forever? Not all ghosts are friendly, and some will do anything to get your attention. A trip to the hospital should be a good thing. Well, unless you run into the wrong patients. Just imagine going to work one day and finding that your old workplace has been taken over by the undead. Even cemeteries aren't safe from ghosts. If they're not careful, gravediggers could end up spending eternity with their shovel. And that's just what happened to George. If you thought you'd never feel fear when hearing a knock on the door, think again. At the crossroads of horror and folklore lies the legend of ghosts that walk at 3 a.m. And now it's time for you to make your voice heard.